Hey everybody, so I wanted to get on here and do a brief discussion about the season finale of Oprah Winfrey Network's Queen Sugar. I had to breathe that sigh of relief. I had to take that deep breath because this has been an anticipated season as well as a really quick season. I don't know about you all, but I just feel like this season really flew by. And this season definitely handled the pandemic as well as um the issues of police brutality and police homicide as well. It definitely handled it in a very interesting way. Like we definitely saw a lot play out that has been occurring within like the past year. We definitely saw it play out on Queen Sugar, but I really feel like, is it just me or did this season just fly by? Maybe it was just that good that it just went by too fast. But nonetheless, this episode was a wonderful way to end this season of Queen Sugar. I want to highlight some of the things that stood out to me the most. I love the growth that we are seeing within Darla and Ralph Angel as individuals as well as parents. We see that they allow Blue to go stay with his grandmother so that he is able to attend that school for what they consider to be a better education and possible better opportunities for him. And Blue is very excited. I love the fact that he is comfortable where he is at because while many of us can agree or disagree with that decision, that is their child at the end of the day. And I know this is just a script, but for anyone in that situation, that is that person's child, and they have a right to, if they feel like another school, another area is best for their child, they have a right to make that decision. And what it boils down to is how happy is the child. And apparently Blue is thrilled, so I was very happy to see that. And of course we learn in the end that Darla is expecting another child. And if you all didn't catch what she said, she told Ralph Angel, your child, because we all know that Blue is not paternity wise is not Ralph Angel's son, but Ralph Angel, has taken on being the parent of Blue. So with that being said, very excited about that. I've heard people speculating like, is Darla pregnant? Like could she be possibly pregnant? And sure enough, she is. So it's like kind of like they moved out one child out the scene to now introduce another child that's getting ready to be born by the two. So that's very interesting, y'all. But nonetheless, I am very excited for the couple. Also, we have Hollywood and Violet. Of course, Violet is still not really talking to Ralph Angel. Ralph Angel is not really talking to Violet. Unfortunately, that situation was not resolved in this season. But there's been seasons in the past where they were mad at Nova, and that whole thing didn't get resolved towards a season finale, and it took the following season for it to get resolved. So it's okay. I'm pretty certain we're going to see them mend the relationship between each other because once Violet sees that Blue is actually very thrilled and very happy and he's thriving where he's at, I'm sure she will understand why Ralph Angel did what he did. And, you know, I'm sure they're going to come to some common ground on that. And I feel like really they just owe each other an apology and they can go from there, move the pride out the way. But I love seeing the relationship between Hollywood and Violet in this episode and the playfulness between the two, the youthfulness between the two, the bike ride. Hello, that bike ride. I don't know about you all, but that is so romantic at night. Seems like a good day for the weather or good evening for the weather to take a bike ride. And I kept saying, as Violet and Hollywood was riding out there, I was like, oh Lord, that couldn't be me riding so close to the water because my behind don't know how to swim. So I'll have to switch sides with Hollywood. But nonetheless, that was really romantic, really cool. I would have never thought to even see a bike ride as romantic, but Hollywood really showed me something on that episode on this season finale. Like that really was pretty cool. That was very thoughtful and very unique. So I really like that what they did, and they're just that kind of couple. They're very youthful, they're very playful, they're very romantic. They have their moments, but they manage to get through them together, and I just love the respect and love between those two characters. Then we have Charlie, who throughout this episode is literally seeking everyone's advice just about when it comes to trying to figure out if she should give Davis a second chance. We know that some episodes back, Davis took care of Charlie because it seems as though she had the virus, and he did an excellent job with being attentive to her. And I even said in my commentary, if I was Charlie, I would not be sitting up there trying to give Davis the time of the day after what he put me through. But that's just me. And I'm going to tell you, again, I have a right to feel that way, okay? If it was a real life storyline and it was my life, I wouldn't give him the time of the day. But what I do like is that they managed to drop in a scene where Charlie was asking Darla for her advice, and Darla said, I would never give any woman relationship advice because I believe, and I'm not quoting, I'm more so paraphrasing, but she pretty much said that she believes everyone's relationship situation is unique and different. So, only the two people that are involved in that relationship would know what's best for their relationship, would know how much they can handle, what they want to tolerate, what they don't want to tolerate, what their standards are, what they have been through with each other, who the other person even is, if they can even trust each other. So to seek outside advice, for the most part, may not be wise because you're asking people from the outside looking in what they view you should do. But in actuality, you really would be your best relationship coach. How you feel, your intuition, because of the fact that you've been in a relationship with that person, you know what that person has put you through. You know how you felt. You know what you dealt with. You know that the intentions of that person overall, whether that person has truly managed to grow and mature beyond those mistakes, you would know that better than anyone else because you are close with that person and on that level with that person. So when you ask other individuals from the outside, specifically like, just friends, families, shoot, even at times so called relationship coaches and so called life coaches, when you begin to pull these outside third parties into that situation to get their opinion will never be able to overshadow or override your own intuition. Your own intuition really is all that you need in a situation like Charlie's. But if you've learned to shut out your own intuition, to not trust your own intuition, and to rely more on other individuals around you for their advice, then you really would be confused on what to do. You would be confused on what to do. And not to say that it is necessarily hurts to sometimes get outside opinion. I know I've done it. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I haven't listened to relationship coaches or I haven't asked family or friends at times. But I'm going to tell you one thing that's 100% true. Even with all of that advice, it always came back to my intuition. My intuition always knew best. Sometimes I was told things that went against what I actually should have done in that situation with that opposite sex, with that person I was trying to be with. Not that the person meant me any harm when they gave me the advice. They just didn't know the full story. They didn't know exactly what I had been experiencing because, of course, I didn't have time to tell them. Not to mention they wouldn't know because they're not in that position. They're truly giving advice from the outside looking in. But my intuition, it never failed me. Whether I chose to listen to it or not, it was always right. So I really appreciate Queen Sugar incorporating that. I feel like this day and age, when we have so many relationship coaches failures, mind you, the whole Derek Jackson scandal, the whole Kevin Samuel scandal, it definitely seems as though the writers of Queen Sugar are definitely in tune with what is happening currently in the culture, and when it comes to asking third parties or outside individuals about what one should do within their own marriage or relationship. So that was very interesting to hear Darla make that statement so that Charlie can understand that at the end of the day, she can go around and ask as many people as she wants to, but deep down inside, the only person that will know ultimately what she should and should not do when it came to Davis would be herself, and that she really just needs to sit with him and figure that out, which eventually we see that she does. And I love the fact that Davis was highly transparent. Highly transparent. You could see the raw emotion. He was very transparent about the fact that he made a great statement. Let me get to this statement. His statement was, and again I'm paraphrasing, was that when someone destroys everything good in their life, it's because they don't even like themselves. I often hear men and women both say how, oh, I got with this person, but they wanted the bad guy, or they wanted the bad girl, or they was cheating on me, or they did all this. I gave them everything, and this is what they done to me. Well, for one, it could be that person wasn't even for you, okay? The person may not have even been for you from the get-go. But also, when you have people who just feel like they don't even like themselves, they believe in their heart they don't even deserve that goodness, they're going to destroy it. They're going to self destruct, and they're going to destroy everything around them. I have even been there. I've been there myself. I'm not even about to sit up here and speak from, I've been subjected to it quite often in my past, but I definitely have also played that role of self destructing and destroying the good things around me as well. So, for Davis to say that, for them to write that in the script of Davis' dialogue, very important. Very important for people to understand that you cannot change people. They have to want to change for themselves. They have to find themselves valuable enough to make that change. All men that cheat, or all women or men that cheat, do they do it because they don't love themselves? I don't know. I don't know. But that was that's just one of the many reasons, I suppose. And I'm glad that Queen Sugar brought that to the forefront. I'm also glad we got to see some healing between them. Again, I wouldn't do what Charlie did, but at the same time, that is going back to what Darla said. Everybody's situation will not be the same. And, you know, only those two people involved in that situation know what they are willing to accept, what they are willing to forgive, what they are willing to move forward from. And in Charlie and David's case, they are deciding, looks like, to move forward from their past of his infidelities, and not to mention having a child outside of their relationship or marriage or whatever. And they're going to, it looks like they're headed in the direction of being able to co-parent better and possibly mending some sort of relationship with one another. So we shall see, I suppose, moving into the next season. I'm not mad at it. We definitely saw Micah warming up to his father as well. So that's going to be interesting too to see as well. Moving on, it was also very nice to see that Violet's Diner was reopening. Hollywood also is thriving with his online business that he has going on, which sounds like he's bringing together other men in order to talk about maybe their issues or stress, or just find a place where they can get together with other men to talk about the things that they go through in life. But also, when we see that Violet has reopened her diner, we do see individual social distancing as well as wearing masks. And we see Prosper. And Prosper, is looking great, looking healthy, looking way better than he did at the beginning of the season when he was going through it, like many of us during this time. But one thing that Prosper mentions is that, peeps, something to the effect of, we need each other. This is what we need, which was getting together and having fun with one another. And you can see the people in the town, including Prosper, were clearly doing that, with all the social distancing or all the quarantining and all the shutdowns. That definitely was one of the biggest factors, not being able to be with family, friends, and loved ones in a physical capacity, like really be with each other in the same room and enjoy each other's presence and company. So I thought that was a great way of putting that in there by using Prosper to do so, but it was very good to see Prosper doing a lot better than he was initially. Last but not least, oh gosh, I had to say this for last, Nova and Calvin, y'all. My heart was breaking. I saw the Instagram post, I saw the comments talking about this situation. People were furious, again, racial injustices, police, domestic terrorism. I heard that word being derived by many individuals on social media. So I want to make sure I give credit where credit is due. Specifically, there was an individual by the name of Sabir Bey, who you can find on YouTube as well as other social media platforms. He definitely has been the one I've heard to mainly use the word domestic terrorism. Then you have some other individuals, I believe, of Riza Islam and much more. But nonetheless, with all of that happening today, and then, we having the Derek Chauvin case yesterday where he was found guilty on those three charges that he earned. Okay, they should have been higher than that, in my opinion, but the three charges that they did get him on. We have the storyline on Queen Sugar with Calvin paralyzing the 19-year-old athlete, college athlete. And sure enough, Nova confronts him and he confesses. And that entire storyline, I have got to give it up to Rutinia. First of all, I got to give it up to all the actors and actresses for this entire season of Queen Sugar. Woo woo! All the directors, the writers. Do y'all know they made this like the season of women, different women, uh, ethnic, racial groups, ethnic groups. When it came to, I believe, directing Queen Sugar, they gave opportunities to many different women, or many different women, not just gave, but many different women had the opportunity to direct this season. So I give it up to all those involved in this process, especially since it was also done during the quote unquote pandemic. But nonetheless, with these scenes from this episode, Rutinia Wesley, the actress, did an outstanding job as Nova and going through these emotions with Calvin. Mind you, Calvin pretty much confessed, he did confess that he was the one to deliver those blows to that 19-year-old athlete 20 years ago. I think he said 20 years ago, it was. He delivered the blows that paralyzed him. And you could tell, like, whenever Nova would mention paralyzed, it's like he just didn't want to hear it. It seemed like he just didn't want to hear that he was the one to deliver that fatal blow. And while we understand, or some of us may understand his perspective as to why he did it, trying to hang in there with the rest of the guys, it's still wrong. I kept saying, like, he can come up with as many excuses as he want, and yeah, we get it, but nobody wants to hear your story. Nobody wants to hear your story, because at the end of the day, if it had been your child or your family member who that had happened to, would you want to hear someone else's excuses and stories? No. So stop it. Stop it. No one's going to empathize with you. But of course, because Nova has been with this man and has believed in this man and has rode with this man, for such a long time, and she really was struggling with the emotions of wanting to protect him, her words, not mine, versus wanting to turn him in. And she struggled with that. And I truly believe, because Calvin had 20 years, mind you, to do the right thing when it came to that 19-year-old. I believe it took his love for Nova and him wanting to keep her, and him wanting to show that he was no longer that man from all those years ago, and that he knows he needs to take accountability for what he had did. I believe it was that, and that alone is the reason why he turned himself in, because ultimately we do see internal affairs shows up at Nova's home, and she's like waking up or something. I don't know. She's taking a nap or something. And Calvin is already dressed and ready to turn himself in. And she's just like, "What did you do?" And he was like, "The right thing," or something like that. But I believe it took his love for Nova and him attempting to prove, like, I am not that person anymore. I get it now. I was living in ignorance. I was just as, you know, stupid, bigot, whatever, as the rest of them, vile as the rest of them those years ago. And even though I keep trying to convince myself it was years ago, I still have to pay for what I have done. Because at the end of the day, that 19-year-old cannot walk. He can't go back and change that. So, therefore, they still have to pay for what has been done. And that caught me off guard. When I saw that scene, I was like, wow, no, he didn't. He really turned himself in. And I think too, he didn't want Nova to have that to take on that responsibility, to take on that choice, because it's either she was going to protect him or she was going to turn him in. And to relieve her of having to make that decision, he did it himself. So that is it. That is it for the season. This season was off the hook, yet very, very emotional. Very, very emotional. Kind of like the past year. And for some of us, maybe even go beyond that as well. The emotional ups and downs. That's pretty much what Queen Sugar was this season, but just outstanding nonetheless, and done very well, very excellent. So let me know what you all think in the comment section, and I shall talk to you all soon. Looking forward to another season of Queen Sugar. How about you? Peace.